We're talking about like my favorite topic today, listing presentations. So I will start as promptly as possible. Was anybody by any chance on my iPad presentation call yesterday? No? Good, because I really want to repeat it today. So a little bit of it. I'm going to go through both, but I think that could be a really huge addition for people. Um, so I'm going to open it up because I personally really love to hear, like, what do people feel their pain points are in their listing presentation currently? But this doesn't need to just be in like the print. I'll go through the print, but I think this is more so a conversation of where do you ever feel like you get tripped up, get lost in it, or it could be specific about your print materials that you're bringing. Everybody's perfect. Then I'm going to call on someone random and they can pitch to me. That will be a blast. Nothing? No one has any pain points? Does anybody ever feel like the book that they bring has a bunch of useless information in there and they can't really find the pages that they really want to review with the client? Or it's hard to kind of get your cadence down of how much you want to be talking about one part of it? Maybe the wonderful question of what makes Compass so great? Anything like that? Everyone feels good. Let's see. What are the most essential Compass components for a great CMA? All of the above. Okay. So we're going to start kind of from the beginning here. So we're going to do, I'm just going to talk a little bit about what used to trip me up and how I kind of solved for that. And then I'll go through kind of how I'll share my listing presentation with people. Although what I created yesterday, and this happens with me, I get this idea in my head and then I create something and it turns into something good. So that's what happened yesterday. So I had felt prior to yesterday that a pain point in my presentation was that I had this book of a lot of information that was really great information, but probably not a ton of it that actually was important to be having maybe in that initial conversation of where I'm trying to pitch myself to a client. Although there are wonderful things that are in there, such as, I don't know, the global reach that Compass can have, and I don't know how much traffic we're getting on our websites and whatnot. I never really felt like that's something good to have in my back pocket. But for the 4-bedroom colonial in the school district that I grew up in, that's an hour and a half outside the city. I don't know if they really care that their listing's going to be shown in Hong Kong, or it could be shown in Hong Kong, because most likely it was the broker right in the village who was going to be bringing the buyer still for a really high price. So I think it's really important that you know what is the information that you actually want to be talking about on these presentations, and don't stuff your book, so to speak, or your presentation with, I don't want to say useless information, because it can be, depending on who that client is, depending on what that listing is that you're going into pitch. But make sure that you feel really comfortable with what is in there, so that there's is actually something you're presenting. Instead of going through and saying, gonna leave you this book. We're not going to go through the whole thing, but you can look through it later if you want. I'm just going to talk about, whatever. You should be using this book and you should be going in with some kind of presentation. So that's kind of my first thing with that. So what I ended up creating yesterday, and this is something that you guys can go back in and watch a little bit, but I'm going to go through it again because I was a little bit rushed. This was in my marketing calendar, marketing plan, and iPad presentation call. So I think that's important because I think that's kind of a huge part of the listing presentation. The book that I'm referring to is that listing presentation. At least in Westchester, we had like those black books that you could bind and then bring in. That's the book I'm talking about. So that is a part of your listing presentation. Another part of your listing presentation is probably reviewing the comps. So this would be a great time. I'm not going to go through that today. Go and watch my call on doing a collection as your version of a CMA. That's another really important part of your listing presentation. So what I'm going to cover with you today is how to kind of build a strong print listing presentation that you could leave, a little bit about the team, a little bit about Compass, past sales, staging, whatnot. And then I'm going to go into the actual iPad presentation that I think is going to be something when I do actually go and pitch with it, which my first one is tomorrow morning. I'm excited to see how much more well received and interactive that is going to actually be. So let's start with the print version. Any questions so far on this one? Sorry, oh, it's just the The autopilot things are making me crazy because it looks like it's a message, but it's not. Okay, so go in here. And I think I saw someone write this before, but Compass did update the listing presentation. So I think it was always good. I think that now you have a little bit more options to customize it. Move you over. All right, so you scroll down in marketing, you get to listing presentation. Gonna go into, well, let's just start from the very beginning. Come on, Compass. Try it again. Well, it's not very helpful if it doesn't want to load. There we go. Okay. So there's a bunch of different ones that you can kind of work with here. They've like the national one that you can start with. They've also like the 2023 buyer's presentation. I think it's also national. You get a bunch of different ones in here. Like we have this Westchester one that we can just kind of go through for start. Get it to load. All right. So this is the front of it. You basically pop in the address. I like to put in the client's name right here. Here you can either keep yourself, you can also put in a partner, or you can put in, you know, you can put the team name down here, whatever you want to do. The QR code here, I would have go to either your website or your Compass page. I don't mind this page ever. I'm going to show you what mine looks like. I just want to show you what you'd be able to go in and edit. This is going to be like a brief description about you, about the team. These are like those proof is in the numbers. So you can put, you know, how many houses you sold, average price point, kind of your room to boast about what you've done. Some people like this page, some people don't like this page, totally up to people. These are 5 different testimonials you could add in here. And then this is like a page that we have, like nobody knows Westchester like I do. I actually don't mind that. And you could always update that depending on the client that you're going to. So if for you it's really more like a neighborhood, maybe you change that before the listing presentation to that neighborhood. Just a little trick so people know all of that. Notable sales, you can always swap those out just so that you know here. I'm assuming everybody knows how to just like update text. So you can go and obviously update this. If you want to update a listing that is in here, this is just taking like my active listings. I could always go back to an old listing. Click on it, and now that one would be there instead. So you have a lot of different options you can for swapping all of these out. And then my team is dedicated to selling your home. If you don't like this page, if it doesn't really pertain to you and you don't really have any other team members, you can just delete the page as a whole. You can swap out this to different layouts. So if you're like a partnership, maybe this one would work. If you have 6 individual agents underneath, or it could be 3 individual agents underneath you, you can swap it to this. So a lot of different options for this page. And then it goes into Compass here. So talks about our extensive referral network. Talks about the technology, marketing strategy, talks about like the in-house marketing team that they offer, and then it goes back into the nationwide, you know, brand that we have. This is like where you can put any kind of accolades about Compass in your specific market. So like for us, if we're #1 in Westchester, you could put that in there. If it's like a specific town, we're #1 in Chappaqua, #1 in Armonk, whatever you want to do, you can go in and add that in there. And if you're not sure, talk to your AEM. And then your buyer follows Compass. So we kind of get all of this. My point in going through this with you is, and I would love to hear if anybody wants to just kind of unmute themselves, is anybody like super engaged right now in this? And you don't have to say yes, I won't be offended because I wouldn't be extraordinarily engaged in going through this if I was on a listing presentation.
Not really.
Not really. Thank you, Elkin. I appreciate the honesty.
I don't even bring listing packages, but I want to create something that I can either send in advance or like send after,
Yeah.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's a different market, right?
No, no,
We don't
no. I'm with you. I'm with you. I don't mind having something like this so that if you're pitching against another company and you want to feel like, well, so and so is going to be dropping off something like this, sure, bring it to them, leave it with them. They can look through it if you want. I can tell you right now, I've probably pitched, I don't know, over 150 times. I have never once had somebody want to go through this book with me, which is why I have really pivoted to doing two things. They're probably calling me either for me specifically because I'm younger, so they want to see what that's going to offer to them. If I'm not going to bring them 30 years of experience, I better be freaking good with this technology that we have at Compass. Or they're hiring me or asking me to come and pitch because I'm at Compass or because one of you are at Compass. You don't want to find yourself in a situation where somebody says, "What's so great about Compass?" There may be newer in my market, there may be this, whatever people want to say about us sometimes. Show them, do not tell them. Right now, we are telling them via this print listing presentation. And I'm probably hovering over half the page, moving it over so they can see it. This is why yesterday morning I decided to make a different presentation. Can I pivot to that? And you guys are probably good on making this in Marketing Center. You know how to find it?
Yeah.
Great. So I told everybody yesterday, if you don't have a Canva membership, I'm not making any kind of commission from this, but I should be. I love Canva. I love creating things on Canva. It's like $140 a year. This is how I would go and pitch Compass and myself using the Compass technology and what we have here. Let me make sure I don't have a question. Okay.
I have a quick question.
Sure.
What you had in Compass on the Compass template was the listing presentation, but what you have for Canva is a marketing plan. And I was told that there are those are two completely separate things. Are you merging them? Because most of our sellers don't want to go through pages and pages and pages of material that we share with them.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm going to jump into that. So here I put marketing plan. I'm going to give everybody an editable version of this. If you don't want to say marketing plan, you don't have to. You can say, for me, what I was going to switch this over to, I was playing around with this yesterday. Our slogan is innovate, where innovation meets experience with my mom and I. Whatever your slogan is here, you can put that there. You can put just the Corinne and Kate team and Compass, whatever you want to do. I was just using this as a version for yesterday. So that's completely editable, whatever you want to do. Editable, not edible. Sorry, Canva doesn't make them, so you can eat them. All right, so let's present here. Great. So you can just ignore the marketing plan for now. Okay, so this is how I would go through it. If it wants to click. So it does jump into our marketing plan because here I'm really showing why, I mean, we are being hired to market their property. So although a marketing plan is separate, this is really what they want you to be talking about. At least that's been my experience. If anyone else feels much differently, that's fine. There's a section of the listing presentation where I'm talking about all of the comps with them in a collection. So that has its space. Right now, we're talking about how is Compass and how is Kate Bauer, who works at Compass, going to be using the two of them blended to market my property and make it look as best as it possibly can to attract the best buyer to get the highest price. I think we can all agree with that. So we're going to go through photography, videography, staging, social media, and email marketing, brochures, which I would have a print copy of. That's the only thing that's not actually physically in this. I'll have that with me so they can feel it. They can feel the paper. They can see really what I would be handing to any potential buyer when they come in. Digital ads and insights reports. Good on this. And I can't really see the chat right now and I'm screen sharing, so you can just call out if you have a question. Okay, so here are some examples of the photography from our listings. I do give a little bit about the actual photographers that we have come in, just so that they're aware. Obviously, they're going in, they're taking kind of raw photos, taking 6 different angles with a bunch of different lighting. And then they're taking 4 of those shots and actually blending it together. And that's how you create such a sharp image. Sometimes people are interested in that. So you can add that, something like that in. And then I like to go in, and this was what you'll see in the marketing plan or in the whole marketing calendar marketing plan. If you type that into the CSC website, it's going to say in there that you should be showing them examples of different types of photos that you do. So an example of a drone. I did 2 of those. A still exterior, in my opinion, showing them what that would look like with you. Showing them a kitchen shot or interior shot, another interior, and I think I finish up with some before and afters. So my point in showing the before and afters, which who doesn't like a before and after, this property was previously listed with another agent who also hired a professional photographer. It's not like she was taking this with her iPhone. So that's another thing too. I don't want to put in like, you know, something I just took right here versus my professional photographer and try and be pitching that to the seller. Oh, look, it's, you know, mine's so much better. It's like, no, Kate, anybody who would have hired a professional photographer, it would have looked that good. Actually, it wouldn't. This is somebody who probably spent a similar amount of money, maybe a little bit less, whatever the case might be, and took a different angle of the same room professionally and decided that that was its best image of your house versus my viewpoint of the house. So if you're really trying to show difference in photography, I think these are a great way of doing that. Another before and after. Same exterior. We didn't paint the house, didn't build a new house and make it look so much better. It was 3 weeks later, so we had a little bit of the kind of spring bloom on our side. But ultimately, we took the drone and we took that up to eye level to level off the scale of the image. This is videography. So you guys kind of get it. So it automatically will play, shows them, does not tell them what a video on their property would also be looking like. And these can also, this leaves a lot of room to have a lot of collaboration. And I think this invites the collaboration into the relationship from the beginning. And this is something I always tell my clients. Tell me if you want me to send you the photos before, and if you want to maybe collaborate on what it's going to look like. I have no problem doing that personally because it's only going to make the client feel like I actually appreciate their input to a certain extent. And I'm happy to collaborate with them on it so that they're really proud of what the listing looks like as well. That's really what we're being hired to do, in my opinion. Like I gave the example yesterday of I'm getting married, so bridal makeup. I would hate if I was, someone was, I guess, presenting to me in this case, saying, Kate, I'd love to do your makeup for your wedding. And I would say, great, do you have any pictures or anything you could show me? No, but trust me, it's going to look fabulous. I'd be like, I'm okay. I don't trust anybody that much. Thanks so much. But then once they show you some videos and some pictures of other brides that they've done, you suddenly feel very confident in it. This is the same kind of thing. Power of staging. This exact shot also does really well as a postcard, just as an FYI. So on the market for 200 days, full ask offer within 12 days on the market. Same thing, on the market for 182 days, full ask offer within 60 days on the market. And the third, 121 days, full ask offer with 20 days on the market. So now I'm introducing the idea of staging to them. I'm showing them, I'm not telling them. I can give them an idea of how much each of these staging projects cost. And it's giving them these true examples. Has anybody ever, maybe it's just me, I never get a lot of feedback in these calls, but when I've been caught on listing presentations where people want to talk about staging, they say, oh, do you have any examples of like what it could look like? Or maybe they're really hesitant. And I'm like sifting through my phone for old pictures. I'm like, oh, hold on. I have it. It's a good one. This reduces the chaos. It's already here. It invites it into the conversation in a much less chaotic way. I think a lot of the times that, in my experience, that the confrontation kind of starts, or that I shouldn't say confrontation, but like that combative nature of a conversation starts, is because the client's confused. And now they're losing trust in you. So you're trying to kind of backpedal and you're trying to get back into their good graces. And now it just becomes a little bit of this. I think when you introduce things like this in a very non-combative way and you just open up that conversation, it works out a lot better.
Kate, Kim
Yeah.
again. I don't know how to raise my hand.
That's okay.
So do they start the conversation with who pays for staging and photography? Because that's become even more of an issue these days with our commission structures and all of that. Does that happen at the beginning? If it does, how do you address it? Like, do you pay for the staging, Kate, or do I, or how do we do this?
Yeah. So I mean, I don't pay for the staging. We definitely have like a good amount of staging inventory personally, so I'm always happy to kind of spot treat and do that for a client. Photography, I always pay for all the marketing, like that is on me. So video, photo, we offer that whole package. So if someone has a question on that, I have no problem answering that for them. But I would probably say with the staging, I would say we can definitely revisit this at the end, and I'm more than happy to set up a consultation with our stager that we'd recommend, and they can come in and give you a more like established quote or summary of what they would suggest to do to the house along with us.
That was
We
gonna
never-
be my question. I'm sorry,
Okay.
Kim.
Go ahead.
Go ahead, Kim.
We never pay for our staging. We do the photography, but with this whole buyer broker thing, I'm just wondering if it's going to shift. So I just wondered if you had run up against that, and you haven't. So that's good.
Yeah, haven't had any whispers of that personally in our market.
Right.
All right. Elkin, did you have a question?
Yeah, I was gonna say that just happened to me recently where the property's listed with somebody else and it's vacant, and I told them that definitely needs staging.
Mhm.
And she was kind of a little bit taken back about the fact that they have to pay for it. So like what's your kind of like, what's your answer when someone asks like, who pays for that?
Well, first, I think it's a great time where you can introduce Compass Concierge. So I kind of take a lot of the heat off of it, and I say, if it's not something that you want to, maybe make the investment in, although, by the way, if you just showed them all of this and you showed them what happened with these other properties, I would just be curious to see if maybe like that releases a little bit of like the pressure out of the conversation. But I do think if they're still like, nope, not paying for it, whatever, I would then sometimes talk about Compass Concierge and at least give them that as an option. So you can obviously, I don't need to go through it, but we can all pitch Compass Concierge and what your limits are in your market and always make that available to them. When I've done that sometimes, to be honest, I don't know if it's that I not like insulted them, but I don't know if like I made it sound like, oh, like I don't need a loan. I can pay for it myself. I can do this. So sometimes that's also been something where people are like, no, I can just pay for it myself. Another thing too is like make sure you have, on the topic of staging, make sure you have a great stager. Like mine has a lot of different options. So she doesn't need to come in and do $20,000 worth of staging. She can do a $5,000, $6,000 package and just kind of help with the editing process in there as well. So I think just open it up. I think sometimes having that stager there on that consultation is really helpful because it shifts a little bit of that conversation over to them, which is really what their specialty is.
Makes sense. Thanks.
Cool. All right. Let me see how much time I have. Okay. So talking about social media now. So over the years, social media engagement has become increasingly crucial. I think it says with over 4,000 followers. Yes, with over 4,000 followers on our accounts and an average of 150 likes per post, our reach is substantial. Followers include numerous Compass agents from various regions who frequently showcase our new listings on their pages, amplifying our online presence. Our dedicated administrative assistant manages our social media, and notably, we've converted direct messages into successful buyer leads for our listings on multiple occasions. So again, showing them instead of telling them here. Then I go in and I actually give them examples of what their just listed, let's say, what post would actually look like on my Instagram, and an example of how many likes something like that would get. I don't think this is really something that people are ever going to like stop you on and be like, oh, you didn't actually get 140 likes or 150 likes, whatnot. But I do think it's really important to show them this is how it's going to be showcased. I come across a lot of Instagram posts where they just don't feel very thought out. And I think as a technology company, if we are going to be pitching that you're going to be blasted on social media and we can make social media posts so quickly, I, as a seller, would probably want to know, well, what's that going to look like? And actually, who's going to be receiving that? Because it's not very helpful if maybe you don't have the right followers or the right engagement levels there to really make this Instagram post feel useful. And then I also give them an example of somebody who has DM'd me asking about a listing that we had. So next one, email marketing. Our email marketing strategy is highly impactful, reaching a diverse audience that includes clients, local businesses, editors of local magazines, Compass agents nationwide, top local brokers who are likely to bring potential buyers to the property, and many others within our network. Shows them an example of what that looks like. And then digital ads. This is a video hold on. This is a video that was
At
made.
Compass, we utilize artificial intelligence to instantly and seamlessly create a marketing video of your property. In just minutes, we can then launch a digital advertising campaign on our ad platform across Facebook, Instagram, and Google, targeting the ideal buyer for your home. We're able to measure the results on our proprietary insights report, allowing us to see how many online showings we've had, exactly how long buyers are spending viewing the listing, and where they are located, down to the devices they're searching on. This allows us to further target and pinpoint the right buyers for your home. Compass technology gives us back the time we need to provide our clients with the most seamless experience, from preparation to closing. A Compass agent, a smarter way to sell your home.
So I think that video is a really nice way of showing how quickly a digital ad could be made and then actually sending those insights reports off to them. This slide duplicates, which makes me crazy. And then I go into insights reports a little bit more. So this is another great way where you can introduce when you're going to be sending this to them. So like for us, every Monday, typically for our sellers, if they even last that long, they're getting an update of what the traffic has looked like on their home across a bunch of different platforms or publishers, and then actually the views by city and the average time that's being spent on the listing. So let me hop out of here, stop sharing for a second. So I'm going to share that with everybody. So you'll all get a copy of that. You can edit it in Canva if you want to. You can also have a free account, and you don't have to use mine. This is my take on how to explain Compass, and I'm sure that's going to evolve and I'll make it look even better. But I do feel sometimes that the feedback I get a lot is that that print one doesn't always work as perfectly for them as maybe they would like for agents. So just something to think about to get creative with it. At the beginning of this, I showed you how you can go into Marketing Center and make that print listing presentation. I would still be making and giving my clients a copy of that, but I would probably review the technology at Compass, and how our company really helps the client in a different way, in more of a tech demo sort of way.
I have a comment.
Sure.
So recently we've been introduced to our marketing support. Her name is Sarah and is great. I'm in Berkeley Bay Area, and we've been told many, many times if we have any of our own marketing, send it over to the marketing support person that we have, and they will create templates for us in the Compass platform so that we can use it there and still have everything housed in one place. Is that something that is offered to you guys, or is there a reason why you still prefer Canva and haven't maybe explored that?
So yesterday morning, I woke up and had this idea. So the quickest place I could get this into action before the call yesterday, which is really like, I just wanted to present something a little bit more thought out than what I had originally prepared. This is the quickest thing I could make in like 3 hours on Canva. So you can definitely take this. And I think this could, if you sent something like this, or you created your own, however you want to explain the technology, and you sent that over to the marketing department, they could probably make you a beautiful flip book. They could make you a great presentation, whatever is going to go on the iPad or on the computer that you want to share with them. So whatever you feel most comfortable with. My whole point in actually sharing this, if people want to use it, great. If you want to take it and kind of make it your own, that's fine too. But it's essentially taking those pages that are in the listing presentation out of it so that you can share Compass in a little bit of an easier, more collaborative way.
That makes sense. And Canva is really great. I have a subscription.
Yeah. All right, I have time for like one more and then I gotta hop off.
Kate,
Yeah.
I have a question for you regarding insights. What actually is in, I don't even understand the question. I'm sorry,
That's okay.
salad soup in my head. Okay.
Yes.
So when I list a property, I actually use a virtual tour, like a virtual tour. I send it off to like, reps or someone else, and they host it on their website.
Mhm.
So when you're doing this and you get your insights information, that information is coming from, I'm assuming, your website. So are you trying to drive so where does that information come from? And then how do you, if you hire a professional photographer and you hire a virtual tours person and they upload it to, like your preferred company to host it, then we're either missing that information in the statistics that we give to clients, or do you say they'll go to this, like 123 Main Street website, which is hosted on, virtual tours or something? So
all of my insights reports are being pulled from my active listings that are in the insights button in here.
I know where it is, but where does the information come from?
The different publishing websites. So Zillow, Compass, Realtor.com, Trulia. I'm not concerned personally with the other like photographers' website that they might be going to. I have my own website as well. If you'd like to take those insights and add them in before you send an insights report, that's perfectly fine as well. But ultimately, I think this is pulling it from the main drivers of, and it's painting the picture of what we need to be telling our clients. But if you feel like you're missing out on a lot of extra insights, then I probably wouldn't recommend doing it this way.
Okay, thanks.
Sure. All right. Thank you guys. I got to jump off, but thank you for your time, and I will share the presentation. And truthfully, take it, make it your own. It's just something that I put together that I thought might be kind of helpful, of taking that print and making it into something a little bit more user friendly. All right. Thank you guys. Talk to you.